The Lowe Art Museum is a university museum here at the University of Miami. It was the first major museum in this community and the first institution to collect art across the board, from antiquity to contemporary art. But it has a very special role as a university museum, that it educates students first and foremost. So we do research here. ArtLab is a research project.
As the title Art Lab suggests, it really is a laboratory for learning, and like labs, it's very, very hands-on. ArtLab, semester-long class that they take here at the University of Miami, which is helping to give students this immersive learning experience so that they can understand better the field of art, art history, museum studies. And I think a show like Fishtails really highlights that, because this program, the program that the students have so wonderfully curated and put together for us, cuts across genres, it cuts across eras, it cuts across media.
Well, realistically, when you put an exhibition together, and I've worked as a curator, it takes 2.5, 3 years. So we do fast forward the process. It's only 2.5 months worth of work. So in preparation for that, I did pick the theme with the director, fish, and we went through the collection to see what objects we had that we could use in the show. Well, first of all, fish as food was one of the first themes that came across very clearly. Specifically in Asian culture, the whole mythology of how the world operates. So that's another reason why you see a lot of fish in Japanese and Chinese art. It's a subject matter, I think, that everybody can relate to.
We tend to see students from studio art and from art history, of course, but there's also an attraction for other fields when students want to have a different experience that can augment or enhance whatever their major might be. We really are committed to interdisciplinary, cross-curricular activities.
In addition to their experience on the University of Miami campus, the students, as part of ArtLab, were taken to New York for a week. So we visited museums, we visited galleries, we visited private artist studios, and they talked about what's entailed in those businesses.
We visited several practicing artists, contemporary artists. We visited commercial galleries. We visited several museums independently of different scopes and scales, again, so that they had this wonderful panorama of what the art world, the museum gallery world really looks like.
We went to the Guggenheim, where there's a show currently, and the curator talked about how she put together that show. That gave the students insight into, well, how do you put together a show? What's behind it?
The immersive travel component of the Art Lab program that we do here is really essential. It really is a critical part of the learning that we are trying to provide our students with.
The first step is really deciding, okay, what are we going to include? And how are we going to make it thematically interesting for a viewer to figure out, well, why would we have this next to that, or bring these objects together? And the students wanted very much to have the hands-on experience. 6 out of the 10 were Master of Fine Arts students, so they're used to working with their hands. So the photographer did the photographs, the graphic designer designed the booklet, an architect who's a printmaker did the stands for the books. 2 sculpture students were the ones who worked on arranging the cases. They wrote for the text for the brochure. The only thing they didn't have to do was fundraise for the show.
Being a graduate student, I have to prepare something like this in my future, and something with my career that it's going to be ongoing. So having the guidance, the platform to have something like this happen, I'm really excited about it. And I'm glad that they made it happen for students like us.
This was a really great experience for me as someone wanting to go into the arts as a profession, because it gave me some real-world experience to work in a museum setting to curate this show for the Lowe.
So one of our big goals for the year ahead is to endow ArtLab so that in perpetuity we are certain that every year a cohort of University of Miami undergraduate and graduate students can have this very, very powerful learning experience.
I would like to see the tradition of the trip continue. I think that, as important as the project is in and of itself, that component is so very important as an educational component to this experience.
This exhibit was inspiring, insightful, and exciting.
This exhibit to me was inspirational, educational, and was also fun in order to make problem solving so easy, friendly, and just making this exhibit a reality.